why Dubs chose that sword of his, which neither one of those things had anything to do with Hasan. I mean,
it absolutely did have everything to do with Hasan due to the fact that it was Hasan's sword. It was Hasan's sword. And you know what's funny? Because later in this freaking live stream, she goes on to say that Ethan knew it was from Bleach. But you want to know who called it a swastika sword before Ethan?
Immediately goes for the swastika one. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He goes for the what sword?
I really do think that Ethan looked a little bit worse. He was like more agitated, clearly agitated. His eyes were black and glazed over with anger the whole time.
Yes, he was agitated. The person he's talking to is in a camp of people who have been running a smear campaign on him for years now. They have been the catalyst of CPS being called, human skulls being sent to his place, his friends have been attacked, his family has been attacked, his viewers have been attacked. What is going on, everybody? It's Kmplxity. Welcome back to the after show. Today we're going to be covering Cafe's coverage of the Hasan Ethen Klein debate. Now, I haven't watched the entire debate itself. We're actually planning on covering it here, maybe live, most likely live. It is a 5-hour stream. Who knows exactly how? I don't think we could do multitude of videos. But while I was watching their coverage of it, I actually only clicked on to this episode here because in the title, it literally says Ethen Klein versus Hasan AL. So I thought that they were going to be covering it. Come to my surprise, by the time I actually clicked on it, the show was already wrapping up. And I go back and I start looking for it and I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the debate. I'm trying to find them covering. I'm trying to find them talking about it. And they only covered it for about 20 minutes. Now, I have spoke with Ken, said that there was a little issue with the timeline. He really wasn't able to get to it. But the coverage that they did get to, the things that they did talk about, is worthy of some criticism. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to keep it a buck. We always have here, in the spirit of fairness and being critical of all people and being open to discussion and debate. We have to. And I do want to point out that Ken did say that they were going to be doing more coverage of this. They were pretty much just dipping their toes into the water, seeing if the audience wants them to cover it. That being said, that does not exclude anybody from criticism of how they covered it. Apparently this is Sweet Tea. She's kind of new to the LCU and she was here because of the tryouts and everything. But I have a massive issue with her because she claims to have watched the debate, but everything she said in this coverage of it leads me to believe that even if she watched it, she just simply doesn't understand it. And it's incredibly obvious she doesn't understand the history between Hasan and Ethen Klein and why Ethan was making some of the points, asking some of the questions that he was, and doing some of the things that he did during the debate. So let's get right into this.
One's in the chat if y'all saw that dumbass debate. Two's in the chat if you haven't.
Now, honestly, I'm going to say right off the bat, there were parts of the debate that I listened to because I got there at, I think, like the last 30 minutes of the debate because I was working. I don't really think it was a dumbass debate. People thought that this debate, if you went into watching this debate thinking that somehow magically they were going to change their mind, they were going to come to some sort of solution for the Middle East, then yeah, it was a dumbass debate. This debate was due to the fact that for multitude of years, Hasan and his crew of freaking bloodthirsty genocidal maniacs were attacking Ethen Klein, and they were gaslighting this man into trying to make him believe he was crazy. The constant harassment, the man had CPS called on his home. He had human skulls, not fake, human skulls were purchased and sent to his home, okay, was sent to his place of business. Was sent to him. In the crew, they have multitude of people that they have platformed, including Bad Empanada, who was the main person making the call to action, dog whistling for others to call CPS on Ethen Klein's children, or I guess technically on Ethen Klein. He has an entire video going over it as well. There is so many reasons why this debate needed to take place to show the freaking intellectual fallacies on Hasan's part. There was parts on it where they actually did agree, and so we got to give them that. But the debate was not meant to somehow change the tides or change anything. Maybe change some people's opinions on, or at least open people's eyes up to what was actually going on. And I think it did a very good job of doing that, considering in the time that I saw, it really did show Hasan to be exactly what everyone says he is. He's a coward, never will confront criticism openly and with a non biased mind. But to call the debate dumbass or useless or any of that nature, I just completely disagree. This was a long time coming, years in the making.
Because that was just one of those things where they had some good points, but the problem is they were so far apart on certain things. There was no compromise, right?
And here's the other issue that I have with this. They weren't so far apart on certain things. There is a majority. If you've watched the back and forth between the two, Ethen has agreed with Hasan on a multitude of parts. He simply believes that Israel has and I'm not, this isn't verbatim, I'm obviously simplifying it. I don't know, nor do I claim any political geographical knowledge of Hasan, Palestine, or of Israel, Palestine, any of that, okay? But just from watching them, watching coverage, watching them going back and forth, Ethen has stated a multitude of times and been critical of Israel and its treatment, has been critical of Hasan, has been critical of Hezbollah, has been critical of the Houthis, has been critical of the Palestinians. He has been critical on all sides, which is the most open and non-biased and faithful argument you can have. It doesn't matter if you align with a specific party. If you cannot be critical of that party, you are simply a follower. And if you are blind to the things that your party is doing, willfully ignorant to what your party is doing or those that you align with, you are worse than others. There's a good saying that says blind believers are worse than those who, those who deny what they have seen are worse than blind believers. What that means is people who see injustices, people who see what's wrong, people who can see what their party, what their alignment is doing wrong and deny it or simply not speak out against it is worse than somebody ignorant to the fact and just blindly following them. And it is, and I stand by that. Anyone who just blindly follows people, you can call them ignorant. People who deny what they have seen is willfully ignorant, and they are in the process. They are part of the process of sweeping up and completely condoning it. Silence does mean something. If you see somebody attacking someone and you do nothing about it, you say nothing about it, you see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, you are complicit in that act.
When it comes to certain things with Israel and Palestine, I don't know if there is going to be compromise because they're just so far apart at this point. But what was your opinion of it?
As far as Israel and Palestine, there is, as my opinion, when it comes to something that has been going on for as long as this has, it's just like the Civil War. There is no way for there to be a resolution without bloodshed. As the old saying goes, if you want peace, prepare for war. It's an unfortunate situation. Yes, there are those who are less fortunate than others to actually be able to defend themselves. But at the end of the day, us here, Twitter people, freaking Reddit people, freaking Facebook people, we're not going to have the solutions. Our own government isn't going to have the solutions for it either.
I think Ethen asked him far too many questions that were other people's fault, not his own. Like, he asked a lot of, like, Frogan's thumbnail. He harped on that for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason he harped on Frogan's thumbnail is she's referring to the part in the video where he actually talks about he questions Hasan on why it is that the only two Jewish people on that tier list are at the bottom, and why only one of two Jewish people featured in the freaking thumbnail were even talked about during the stream. Okay, he's questioning him on it because it's an obvious point of contention. You have two Jewish people at the bottom of the tier list in the thumbnail, and only one of them is even discussed during the tier list. And there's nothing wrong with him asking questions about the people he aligns himself with. Don't forget, you are judged by the company you keep. It would be the same thing as if a black person was friends with a grand wizard. Okay, has that occurred? Yes, but people will look at you differently. If you're hanging out with them, you're going to conventions with them, you're doing stuff with them, people are going to look at you sideways. It'd be the same thing as Mexicans for Trump. And now look at what's happening. Your family's being deported. You voted for it. You're the idiot. Not the people who voted against it. I'm not saying Kamala is the end all be all or any of that, and definitely not trying to get into politics. But the fact that he was questioning these people, or he was questioning Hasan on these type of things, on these different ideologies, these different dog whistles, this silent hatred as it is 100% apt and honestly, it's valid. Frogan has come out against them. I mean, hell, he even had Bad Empanada called AB, who is a person on the H3 podcast, called him a house Arab. We all know what he was referring to. A house, yeah, and Uncle Tom, basically saying he denounced his own race, religion, whatever it is, in order to fit the white man's agenda, or in this case, the Jewish agenda. There's nothing wrong with Hasan being questioned on these things. These are the people he aligns himself with.
Why iDubbbz chose that sword of his, which neither one of those things had anything to do with Hasan. I mean,
it absolutely did have everything to do with Hasan, due to the fact that it was Hasan's sword. It was Hasan's sword. And you know what's funny? Because later in this freaking live stream, she goes on to say that Ethan knew it was from Bleach. But you want to know who called it a swastika sword before Ethan? Well, why don't we just go ahead and find out? Shout out to Nicholas Diorio.
This one's sicker. Wait, that's a little sus.
Pointing to the hilt of the sword that very obviously can be misinterpreted or resembles a swastika, and saying it's sus. Now, exactly what do you think he meant by that? Well, Hasan goes on to tell you what he means by that.
No way, dude.
Love you, Oreo, but we're gonna...
One guy.
Oh, okay.
Bro, why is it sus?
Questionable. Bag.
Now, hear it from Hasan's own words as to why this sword is sus.
Okay.
Yeah. It immediately goes for the swastika one guy.
I'm sorry, he goes for the what sword?
Bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It immediately goes for the swastika one guy.
The what? The what, Hasan?
Yeah. It immediately goes for the swastika one guy.
The swastika one. Hasan called his own sword the swastika sword before Ethan did. Where do you think Ethan got the name swastika sword from?
sword of his, which...
So when it comes to this, iDubbbz, Ian grabbing the swastika sword, aptly named that by Hasan because he bought the fucking sword, giving it to Ian, who is making a hit piece video against Ethen Klein, someone who he disagrees with and is Jewish. Yes, Ethan is going to have an issue with it. Yes, he has every right to question Hasan on it. Yes, he has every right to have an issue with this situation because it is a silent attack upon him. Like, I don't understand how it is that you claim to have watched this, considering the fact that he actually he freaking questions him on it in the live stream. It's a 5-hour live stream. Can you retain all information from it? No. But you know what you can do? You can go back and look at the multitude of years in which Hasan has been covered by Ethan and has been critical of Hasan. Not only that, but Ethan made an entire freaking content nuke on Hasan, pointing out everything that he feels is bad and disingenuous and misinformation, all of those things. That is the whole reason why he questioned him on why Ian iDubbbz took the sword and used it in the video. You are unknowledgeable about what you're speaking on.
Either one of those things had anything to do with Hasan. I mean,
they did have something to do with Hasan. He owns the fucking sword. He owns the swastika sword, in which he named it that and gave it to Ian, allowing him to use it in a hit piece against a Jewish man.
how's he supposed to answer any of those questions?
Yeah.
Easy. Why did you give him the sword that you went ahead and dubbed the swastika sword? The thing is, Hasan doesn't have an answer other than probably thought it was going to be funny. He knew what he was doing. He has so many different swords at his house. He could have used any of them, but he grabs the one sword that he himself, Hasan himself, has named the swastika sword. Come on.
Exactly.
I think it was a train wreck. I think neither one of them come out looking good. But if anybody,
Ethan 100% came out looking way better than Hasan. Is there things that you can be critical of him on there? I imagine so. It's a 5-hour live stream. Something that we're most likely going to be covering live as well. Yes, you can be critical of it, but to say that neither of them came out looking good, that is absolutely insane, especially if you actually watched the 5-hour stream.
out looking worse, I think it was Ethan. And I'm a fan.
You think Ethan looked worse? Are you serious? Out of all of this? Okay, unlike Hasan, Ethan actually questioned Hasan on his own words, quoted them back to him. Hasan had no answers for him. Used clips of Hasan and asked him what he meant by these things. What are these things? Ethan came with actual evidence, whereas Hasan came with trust me bros and LOL, you're crazy.
Either one of them come out looking good, but if anybody came out looking worse, I think it was Ethan. And I'm a fan of Ethan, so I hate saying that.
There's no way you're a fan of Ethan and you don't know the history between these two. The simple fact that you don't understand why he was questioning Hasan on iDubbbz's choice of the swastika sword is point blank period evidence that you're not an actual fan. You're a fair weather fan. Maybe you are. Maybe you just don't simply understand. Let me take that back. Maybe you are a fan. You just simply don't understand the conflict between these two. That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Here's how I feel. I don't have a dog in the fight. So I'm going to let them do what they need to do.
Either. Yeah.
Like I've seen what it's like over there. And, you know, I've been to Kuwait and Iraq, right? So I know what it's like. I know how they live. I understand their life, their culture, and all that, right? Because I've seen it firsthand. They've been like that for so long. There's no changing it, and that's how they want to live. That's how they want to live, right?
Disagree. I will put, and I do have criticisms for Ken as well. How long did slavery last? Many years, decades. Okay, slavery is going on all over the world. And it was literally the same points that the South was using. Well, it's been this way forever. Why are we going to change it? Things can change. It is how you go about trying to make said changes, which was another point, another thing that Ethan was trying to convey to Hasan when Hasan tried comparing freaking the Houthis and Nelson Mandela, somebody who tried and went against apartheid in Africa and Uganda and all of that. Okay, they can change. Are we the ones who are supposed to make the changes for them? Absolutely not. They have to do it on their own. Can we supply? Can we help? Can we do things of that nature? Yes, 100% sure. But to say that it's so set in stone that it shouldn't be changed is absolutely it's asinine. That's like saying, well, I've been with this person for 20 years and they've just beaten me every single day. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It can't change. Yes, it can, and it should. To say that people are just stuck in their ways is asinine. It takes any possibility of reforming, of a better life, of a better culture, not a better culture, let me take that back, but of a better life and reforming and having them come into a much better system, a much better society than what they have now. Are we the ones to question it? No, of course not, because that is how they're living. Absolutely. But considering the fact that they have had multitude of attempted revolutions, they have had a multitude of militia groups rise up and be shot down in an effort to try and change things, shows that people want change, shows that yes, things can change, because over the years, things have changed slowly but surely, because those in power stay in power through illicit means.
I'm not here to judge, but all I am going to say is I'm happy to be an American.
Facts.
That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? But let's go.
Hell yeah, brother.
We're going to watch a little bit of this just to give people that didn't see it. You know what I mean? Ash even said Hasan looked worse than me. If you go on X, actually, I'll do it real quick. Let me just do it. Because if you look at what people were posting, and all that, obviously the fans of each individual one thinks that the other one outdid the other, if that makes sense.
Of
right?
course.
But the people that just are impartial and were just wanting to watch it just to watch it, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But let me
I really do think that Ethan looked a little bit worse. He was like more agitated, clearly agitated. His eyes were black and glazed over with anger the whole time.
Yes, he was agitated. The person he's talking to is in a camp of people who have been running a smear campaign on him for years now. They have been the catalyst of CPS being called, human skulls being sent to his place, his friends have been attacked, his family has been attacked, his viewers have been attacked. They've tried to gaslighting him into believing he was crazy, that he was a bad Jew. They made so many bad faith arguments. Of course he was upset. And to say that his eyes were glazed over with anger is also asinine. He was making jokes throughout the entire freaking 5-hour stream, from what I've seen, from the clips that I even have here now. He has a right to be angry. Simply because Hasan was doing his dumb fake laugh the entire time does not mean he wasn't feeling angry, doesn't mean he wasn't feeling some type of way. You're literally saying this person who is being persecuted for his beliefs and being told he is wrong and he should just accept the fact that genocide is inevitable for his people shouldn't be angry, which is moronic to the nth degree.
That first thing.
Yep. Like here's one thread real quick. That's one to show. Hasan versus Ethen Klein debate did not try to, take care of yourself, and just people going in there. The movie started, asshole, put that phone down. Y'all know 30 minutes previews, blah, blah, blah. It's a disaster.
Okay. Twitter and Reddit are the two worst places to get opinions on something that happened on YouTube. Something that happened, period. Twitter is an unreliable source of biases, okay? For the most part, let's just be realistic. Even the clips that I have up here that I'm going to be sharing because of some of the things that this person said, Sweet Tea, whatever the fuck your name is, it is an incredibly unreliable place. Twitter, any social media, is a place for people to spout their own biases. Most of the time, people who are chatting, you have maybe 1 in 10,000 people who are truly objectively looking at something. But to simply go on a thread and say, well, these people didn't like it, so obviously it wasn't a good debate, is so disingenuous.
Came from the debate, left and blah, blah, blah. People hated it because it's not at all what they thought it was going to be. You know what?
Sounds like it was their fault for thinking it was going to be something other than what it actually was going to be. And again, just because it's on a single thread doesn't mean people There was over 100,000 people watching, almost 200,000 people were watching, and you really are going to go off of a single thread of people? There are small YouTubers, big YouTubers covering this. Multitude of points have been made throughout the entire live stream that can be covered, dissected, and deep dived into. But to say the general consensus is the fact that people hated it simply because there's a couple of different threads of people disliking it, that's bad faith.
I
But
agree. Yeah.
let's go ahead and we're gonna watch just a little bit just to give people an idea of what this was. You know,
It really concerned me that Rastoff didn't know who Ethan Klein was or Hasan when he's wanting to be an internet personality.
That's rich, because it's concerning that you're wanting to cover a topic that you seem to not know jack shit about.
That's crazy.
I get that, but like, you know, I'll be honest.
Honestly, this portion doesn't really
Know
matter.
him. And Hasan's the #1 Twitch streamer, you know?
And why is Hasan the #1 Twitch streamer? Maybe because he's friends with the CEO of Twitch, and even as the #1 Twitch streamer, he caused a small adpocalypse for all political streamers due to his antics on Twitch. Just because you're #1 doesn't mean you're good.
Exactly. So we're going to put this speed up, obviously, and let's check this thing out. I don't agree with how it started because they're talking about definitions. This type of debate, you don't need to talk about definitions.
Yes, you do, due to the fact that Hasan and company have been utilizing the word Zionist to coincide with Jew, so that way they can turn around and say things such as all Zionists, Zionists should be killed. Zionists do not deserve to live. Zionists and their families should be taken out, and Zionists need to be a part of this genocide. The fact that they need definitions of that word is important due to the fact that Hasan and his friends and company, all of those people that are on Hasan's side, freely use Zionists to be parallel to Jew, so that way they don't break terms of service due to persecution of a person's faith or religion. That is why definitions is necessary.
Right? People know what the hell you're talking about. Obviously.
No, that's also the problem. They don't know. And those who do know, again, utilize those words. It's like saying ninja instead of nigga. People know exactly what the fuck you're saying when you say ninja, okay? But if you're going to turn around and say, man, ninjas suck, most people are going to think you're talking about Chinese ninjas or Japanese ninjas, which is a whole other debate considering ninjas weren't even anyways. But when you're utilizing it in this context and you're using it as a parallel, you're using it as a filler word for something you know you're going to get in trouble for, it is imperative to get definitions down so that way they cannot use it as a dog whistle, so that way they cannot use it as a means of silent racism.
Yeah.
For some things you want like common ground, but whatever. Let's get into this thing. Let's right here.
It's time. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hasan Piker.
Hello, Hasan Piker.
What's going on?
Well, I'm doing a debate. What about you?
That's what I'm doing as well. All right. Wait, hold on. Oh, are you going to show me all the time as well on the Zoom?
Oh, addressed
Okay,
him
good.
thoroughly.
All right,
do you know that? Do you believe he should have included the context of the CPS call?
What?
What? You don't know what I'm talking about?
Wait. I'm a little confused. You are asking me
Yes.
what my opinion is
On the video.
IDubbbz's content comment.
Correct. That's correct.
About the CPS. I don't know. Maybe. Sure. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I think it was more so about like your year-long conquest of deplatforming and also
Right. Well, 90% of the clips were from the episode entitled "CPS Came to My House." Hasan.
So Nightmare comes in and asks like, "Oh, hey, when are you going to quit streaming?" But
IDubbbz's content comment.
Correct. That's correct.
About the CPS. I don't know.
and you're over here, Miss Sweet Tea, raising your hands like, what does this matter? It matters because Ian iDubbbz took a majority of the clips in his content cop from the stream labeled they called CPS. The CPS came to my house. And in the content cop, he was showing or attempting to make Ethen Klein to be a spiteful, vindictive human being without adding the context where those clips came from, why he was so angry in those clips, why he said the things that he said, leaving out the fact that everything in those clips, a majority of those clips, is his response, his reaction to having CPS come to his house and attempt to pull his kids out of class and interview them at the school is immoral. It is incredibly disingenuous, and it is absolutely wrong of you to sit here and think that that has no contextual value to the overall tone of the video. It would be the same thing as just taking a video after you beat the shit out of somebody and then them attacking you and being like, look, this person's crazy. This person's crazy. Context matters. And it's something you seem to be lacking in the understand. And it seems to be, I am so freaking flustered and frustrated right now. It seems to be something that you lack an understanding of. Context is important, especially on YouTube. You are wanting to be a host. You are wanting to have hundreds, if not thousands of people following you, listening to what you have to say as a content creator, as a host, whatever it is. And it seems as though you do not understand the backbone of the whole YouTube creator world of contextualized information.
You sure? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I think it was more so about like your year-long conquest of deplatforming and also
Right. Well, 90% of the clips were from the episode entitled CPS.
And now she's shaking her head, nodding, saying in agreement with Hasan that iDubbbz's content cop was in response to Ethen Klein's supposed year-long conquest to try and get rid of
conquest of deplatforming and
of deplatforming. Ethen believes that Hasan, let me rephrase, even if Ethen believes that Hasan should be deplatformed, I'm in 100% agreement. How in the hell are you going to say that it is an apt response to go against somebody who believes someone who has shown terrorist propaganda to tens of thousands of viewers, has had a actual terrorist on his live stream, has swept for terrorists, has not delegitimized, but has allowed terroristic propaganda to be platformed on his live streams to tens of thousands of people, and has simply said things of, oh, this isn't a terrorist video, it's just a musical video. Terrorists are very musical people.
Well, 90% of the clips were from the episode entitled CPS.
We can skip all of this.
Questions that
Enjoy your show, guys.
Let it, bro.
see how he was asking questions that a real debate, you shouldn't be asking questions for somebody, asking him about what he thinks about why somebody else did this and that. That's just stupid.
Yep.
No, it's not stupid. It matters to the context. For example, when we covered Richie and Becky, and we gave our thoughts onto why we believed it was that Richie took the video of her house, we could have completely left out our opinion on that, but we didn't, because it was contextualized to the situation at hand. And we stand by the fact that, could he have taken it in an effort to show police that he wasn't doing anything wrong? Absolutely. But we also maintain the fact that he 100% did it in spite of what was going on, or I should say to spite Becky because of what was going on. That is contextually relevant to the situation at hand, because it shows the mind frame. It shows the frame of mind that he was in during that time. And for him to attempt to potentially take it back or say that wasn't the case is also disingenuous. Asking why it is that Hasan believes iDubbbz left out the context of where those clips came from is 100% relevant to the situation at hand, considering iDubbbz was trying to paint Ethen as just this crazy, angry dude.
Not iDubbbz.
So the whole content cop thing obviously murdered iDubbbz's image online, pissed off a lot of different people, and he sided with the wrong person.
iDubbbz managed to do what nobody else could have done. And that was to get people to never want another content cop again.
After everything that Ethen Klein did for iDubbbz in the past with Creator Class 1 and 2, you know what I mean? So I don't fucking know.
I guess.
You guess? You guess. He literally platformed Ian and Anissa. He defended them when people were attacking Anissa for her OnlyFans. He defended them and promoted Ethan and Anissa's Creator Clash 1 and 2. He's actually, funny enough, was the biggest supporter of Creator Clash. He was the #1 supporter of Creator Clash. And if you looked at the numbers, I guarantee you the majority of people who bought tickets to Creator Clash 1 and 2 came from Ethan, came from H3, because he was the only person who was consistently having them on his podcast out to tens of thousands of viewers promoting it. Hell, the fighters themselves didn't even promote it. Okay, Harley Epic Mealtime, he has been a starch defender of it until now because of all of what's going on, and he's pulled out, and so is Lena. He has had Ian's back when the internet dogged on him and turned their back on him. So for you to just be so dismissive here and say, I guess, to the fact that he felt some type of way with Ian not backing him the same way Ethan backed him is just mind-boggling. And you claim to be an Ethan fan?
Pass for Creator Class 1 and 2, you know what I mean? So I don't fucking know.
I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Ethan wants you to kiss his ass, though, and if you don't kiss his ass exactly the right way, he's gonna do whatever in his power to destroy you.
Really? Are you sure about that? Ethan was the first person to show an open dialogue to Hasan and to have Hasan debate him. He has constantly debated people who have gone after him. He has in fact been the #1 person within the commentary community who has had an open door policy to anybody who wants to debate him when it comes to their different political, ideological, whatever. Okay, he has been such a huge, staunch defender of free speech. He was in a lawsuit for free speech, and you're going to sit here and say that he wants people to kiss his ass and he'll destroy you if you don't? You're out of your fucking mind. He goes after the people that go after him. Bad Empanada, freaking Frogan, freaking the other dumb bimbo, whatever the hell her name is, Hasan. Like, yes, Mike from PA, Denims. He goes after the people who come after him and take it IRL. To say it's so disingenuous to turn around and simply say that he wants you to kiss his ass. He has open debates. Maybe you don't like the way he debates. Maybe you think he's too harsh, whatever the fuck. But unlike Hasan, he's actually open to people talking to him. Hasan is notoriously known for the clip where he gets called out by a trans debater for losing a trans debate. Okay, somebody who a collective group of people that he claims to be so for, and is known for saying, shut up, you don't know anything, you're just a trans person. That is somebody who will try and destroy you if you disagree with them. That is somebody who is not open to debate. That is somebody who is not open to criticism.
I can see that.
You can either do it or not.
I can see it.
No. And the fact that you're not even pushing back here, Ken, is also another crazy thing. I can't see that. He went after Keemstar because he felt Keemstar was doing a bunch of wrong things, and that content nuke went fucking viral because he always goes after points, and he takes months, weeks, days, weeks, months to create and well-crafted videos. He doesn't just try and destroy a person to destroy a person. He goes after their ideology. He goes after the things that they've said. He questions them on their policies, politics, whatever the fuck it is. It's not you disagree with me, so I'm going to destroy you. No, he questions them on where it is that they stand, and oftentimes they fold.
All right.
I think that's an important detail. I sure do.
Ethan, I think you know my position on this, as I made it very clear. I think it's completely inappropriate to fucking call
No.
CBS.
That's obvious.
I think
I'm
it's
saying your friend Hasan you made a video with
like,
did a total fucking hit job.
I have
All right, go
any
ahead.
hand
Ask me a
in this.
question.
I don't have any, like,
Go ahead.
Listen,
Go ahead.
listen to me. Listen, we're both content creators online. We both have received an endless wave of harassment. You and I have talked privately about
Hasan,
this.
I don't care. Let's just go on.
What do you mean? You brought this up. You brought it up. Hold on.
I know what you're saying. We've all been harassed. The internet is tough. Whatever. Yada yada. Ask me a question.
No. Please, Ethan. Please.
Because you're so boring, bro. I just want to have an interesting conversation.
You know who else also told me that? Andrew Tate. Please, just hold on.
Wow. Wow. God forbid.
Explain my position to you. You and I.
Yeah, there was too much arguing.
It's a debate. They're going to argue because one is in bad faith, the other came with receipts. It's going to be an argument when somebody isn't within the realm of reality.
And honest,
should there have been a more cohesive discussion? Absolutely, sure. But debates get heated, and arguing is bound to happen. But at the end of the day, there was a multitude of times where Ethan wasn't going to be playing into Hasan's attempted gotchas or his freaking the asking all these stupid questions that had no relevancy to what was going on.
What they're about to talk about and things that they discuss, I get it, especially with Ethen Klein being Jewish, Hasan being all about, like the Free Palestine movement, two polar opposites in the thing. I don't want to get political here on this show because we're not really about politics, but I don't understand why they were going to debate to begin with. I get content, right? And I get all that. But the simple fact of they knew they were never going to come to any kind of agreement, any kind of impasse. Obviously, they do have a history, and this issue broke them up.
Yeah.
But other than the content part of it, I really don't understand why this was even there was never going to be a resolution.
It's not about a resolution. It's about exposing one. It's about, on Ethan's side, it's about exposing the things that he has said to be true about Hasan. That is what it was. That was the objective. If you watched the end of the stream, that's even what Ethan says. And he says it multiple times that Hasan has been exposed for the racist, genocidal, crazy maniac that he has exposed himself multitude of times throughout the video to be such a type of person. The whole reason Ethan wanted the debate was so that Hasan could stop running away from his points, running away from his criticism, and have him defend his point of view. That was the whole reason leading up to it. It's the whole reason he's even said or asked for a debate or even agreed to a debate in the first place. And Ethan was the first person to open the doors to the debate. Hasan is the one who continued to run away.
What do you think?
Well, Ethan's been poking and poking and poking at Hasan over and over and over again. I think he wanted to finally get to scream in his face about all his grievances. And that's all it basically was it wasn't even really a debate. It was Ethan airing out his grievances to Hasan.
Oh, that's all it was. It was just him. It was just him airing out his grievances. It had nothing to do with anything that Hasan said. Okay, hold on. You're saying that it was just for him to air out his grievances. Yeah, what are those grievances? What are those grievances? Well, let's find out. Let's find out some of his grievances.
Recognize that you're wrong, as you've done twice now.
You don't need to explain anything to me. I understand your point. Don't you? So you're accusing me of being irresponsible with my words. Don't you think saying you have no issue with Hezbollah makes people think you're pro-terrorist?
I don't care that people think this. It's ridiculous.
So are people valid for thinking you're pro-terrorist?
Do you believe the State Department's designation for terrorism is valid?
Is it reasonable for people to think that you are pro-terrorist when you say I have no problem with Hezbollah?
Do you believe the State Department's designation for terrorism is valid?
You answer my question, and I'll answer yours. Are people valid?
Ethan,
and considering
you rely heavily on your audience not really understanding the terms that you are using.
Let it be noted you are dodging.
When you say, "Oh, Hasan defends terror."
Exactly like I said, Ethen Klein makes a point, questions Hasan on it. Hasan backpedals, does everything he can to deflect. That is the whole reason for the debate, to expose and to prove everything that Hasan has been doing and to show that Ethen was right in what he was saying, right in his grievances. Yes, it was to air out his grievances. And what are those grievances exactly? How about the years and years of harassment that he has had to endure due to Hasan and company?
Chris. Okay.
Literally,
there's a reason why you say that. You say that to
literally
disparage me without actually addressing my arguments. And now, when you're faced with me face to face to talk about these issues, you agree with me. So if you agree with me, you called Hezbollah a noble group. Should I just run around being like Ethen defends terrorism? Well, I think you do, but
I said their actions were noble. I didn't call them a noble group. Again, you have a problem with the truth.
Maybe that's why he wanted to air out his grievances. Hasan has a problem with the truth and has always had a problem with the truth. He speaks as if he knows everything, but he doesn't know shit most of the time. So yes, it was to air out his grievances. It was to air out all of these different grievances that have culminated to this point in time.
It wasn't even really a debate. It was Ethen airing out his grievances to Hasan, is what it felt like to me.
It was a debate. They literally debated over a multitude of different things. They debated over apartheid. They debated over their beliefs on genocide, on two-party system within Israel. They debated on the different things that could be done in order to reach a peaceful negotiation. They debated on a multitude of things. And again, I only watched about 30, 40 minutes of this freaking thing of a 5-hour live stream. And even I can tell you that.
Definitely.
No, not definitely.
So
I can see why Ethen feels that way, because they were friends. They did a podcast together and all that.
It has nothing to do with the fact that they used to be, well, let me rephrase it. The majority of his grievances do not have to do with the fact that they used to be friends. It has to do with the fact of what occurred afterwards.
All right. So we're going to jump ahead to the sword, because I found that whole entire interaction interesting to me.
It's so stupid because Ethen knew that that was a Buddhist symbol.
It doesn't matter what he knew. It matters what Hasan thought it was.
So there was no confusion of, oh my gosh, I really thought it was,
the
bad symbol.
It has nothing to do with what Ethen thought it was. It has everything to do with what Hasan thought it was. And what did Hasan think it was?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It immediately goes for the swastika one guy.
What was that again, Hasan?
Okay.
Yeah. It immediately goes for the swastika one guy.
So it doesn't matter if Ethen knew any of it. It matters, the context of that sword matters when it comes to what Hasan believed it to be. He thought it was a swastika sword. It's the whole reason he bought it. That context of his belief of it being a swastika sword is important for it being put in the damn video. That is the point of contention here. That is the issue here.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to put this full screen real quick for everyone to see, in case you didn't see it. I get what he's saying, because it does kind of look like that. But at the same time, they took it, I believe it was Hindu, not Buddhist. But, no, you're good. I could be wrong. But either way, what I'm saying is there's a difference in literally like the degree it's turned that changes everything, right? And obviously the people that Hasan wants to associate with, especially this bitch right here.
Yeah, fuck Frogan.
Frogan.
We have a whole video on that whore.
Especially coming from someone that's a vet. It's definitely not a good look. Like, fuck her. But
yeah,
we're going to watch a little bit of this. And then, like I said, we'll probably do clips that one. Because this is...
They just did about a minute.
Yeah, because this is massive, right?
It is.
Now, whether Local Live talks, because I definitely want to. We'll send it over tonight.
I don't know the exact... The week prior to that, I believe, I don't know the exact time, I don't really remember when they shot this, but I had the sword out because I was doing an Assassin's Creed promo. Do you feel like if I thought it was like genuinely a swastika sword, I would use it in an Assassin's Creed promo shot?
Yes.
100%.
That's what we call dog whistle, Hasan. And what you're doing is gaslighting somebody. You made a video. Let me make a point here, Hasan, because you're the king of microaggressions and understanding the perspective of minority groups,
true.
Right? So you...
Nothing? You have nothing to say on the fact that he said this is true when he says he's the king of microaggressions? Nothing at all?
A video. You participate in a video accusing a Jewish. Let me finish my point, Hasan. No, stop. You are making a video accusing a Jewish man of exaggerating anti-Semitism while exhibiting the most hateful symbol against Jewish people. Do you not see this as a problem, or at least am I insane for thinking this is odd?
Ethan, take a deep breath.
Answer the question. I don't need you to consult me.
I didn't even hear your question. I need you to.
Well, you should try listening instead of speaking.
I'm just looking for clarification here. Do you think that I deliberately was using a dog whistle in an Assassin's Creed promo, or that it was a cool sword that was laying around because it's the only long sword that I have?
You have 10 swords.
I know, they're heavy. That's not a real sword.
Yes, I'm aware that it's not a real sword, but you had 10 to choose from. What does it matter how much they weigh?
Yeah, the other ones are heavy.
Let me paint a scenario. Hasan, let me paint a scenario for you, okay? Listen, okay? This is important.
Nothing at all to comment on the fact that he has 10 swords, meaning at bare minimum, he has 9 other swords he could have chosen from, and he's doing a promo. He's complaining about the weight of it. What, 3 to 5 pounds, maybe? Hasan works out. That's not a big deal. A promo, what is it? I haven't seen the promo. Is he lugging it around? Is he climbing up the mountaintop? Is he freaking running through the fields with it? Jesus Christ.
Participated in a video accusing a Jewish man of exaggerating anti-Semitism. You exhibited in that video the most hateful symbol against Jewish people. 1 out of 10 of your swords that you have previously already stated you know is the, quote, swastika sword. So am I insane for even, you're treating me like I'm insane for bringing this up, but it sounds pretty reasonable.
I mean,
and you're shaking your head. He literally just quoted Hasan stating that it was a swastika sword. Hasan stated it, claimed it, called it the swastika sword, and you think that there is zero possibility of it being seen as a dog whistle.
It's a little insane.
So yeah, microaggressions just don't exist for Jewish people.
You're asking me.
Yeah, so he has 10 different swords. He chose that one specifically. And if I understood...
Well, he didn't really choose it. iDubbbz chose it.
It's Hasan's sword. He could have said, no, that would be a bad look. It resembles it too much. I've called it a swastika sword in the past. The people are going to look at it this way. Could have chosen from 9 other swords.
Well, I guess he had it available.
Yeah.
Whatever. Trippy Savage said, let's be honest, Hasan is a protagonist and a Hamas supporter. I mean, yeah. But whatever.
That's besides the point.
It's not besides the point. Are you serious? Are you serious? It's not besides the point. It's literally the point of the discussion. It's literally one of the freaking reasons why the discussion happened, why the split happened. What do you mean it's besides the point? It's a point of contention throughout the entire years that they've been going back and forth.
Basically.
No, not basically. It is one of the fucking reasons why Ethan has gone after him and for his support of Hamas and its genocide and what's going on and the things that they're doing to citizens, civilians, things that you and me wrote down on a piece of paper saying we would defend with our lives.
Jeremy Alt, what the fuck is Cafe all about? All right. So this is Sweet Tea's first show. We want to bring in a little nice, it's nice Saturday chill stream. I wanted to talk about the Ethan and Hasan thing, but we got a little derailed a little bit. Beans came in here and yelled at me. It's fine. I love Beans.
Again, as worked up as I am, I do want to point this out. As he's stating, they did get sidetracked. They did get derailed. They are going to be, at least Ken stated, that he is going to be doing a much deeper dive into this, that he's gathering clips over the weekend, that he's going to be doing more research on it. This is just their first coverage of it. So I benefit of the doubt.
She yelled at me, right? And it was awesome. Mafsy came in.
Crack the whip.
Hell yeah. I love it. And Mafsy came in. Mafsy and Sweet Tea, guys. W's in the chat for those two.
Awesome. I don't fuck Sweet Tea. Sorry.
Great. And maybe iDubbbz chose the sword specifically because he knew it was Ethan. And they did the whole entire content cop on Ethan. Little did iDubbbz know that would literally ruin him when it came to Creator Class 3. But, again, this needs to be discussed. But let's go ahead and get back into this thing.
How do you spend so little time? I'm sorry. How do you spend so little time on that point of view? Your co-host or your tryout host, whatever the fuck she is, and goes ahead and says that it's all besides the point. It rolls her eyes at the idea that freaking Ethan would take it in the way that he did when you had just heard Ethan quoting Hasan stating that it was a swastika sword. You spend so little time offering the opposition, offering the other point of view to this. You simply gloss over it by stating, well, maybe Ethan grabbed the sword that looked most like a swastika when doing a critical video on a Jewish man. That's an issue. That's a dog whistle.
Get back into it because obviously as a Jewish person, go ahead.
Ethan says he doesn't speak for all Jewish people and all that. And at that part, I was thinking in my head, he says that he doesn't speak for all Jewish people, but he says that the Jews wouldn't be mad at him for doing the Elon Musk wave thing that kind of looked bad.
Yeah.
And also him writing the bad symbol on PewDiePie.
Yeah.
He could do that, but and say that all the Jewish people be fine with it, but he says he doesn't speak for all Jews all the time there.
Well, he also uses the
one whimsical point made so far. I can agree with you on that. But why don't we see the context of it? Why don't we see if he was joking? Why don't we pull that clip up? Why don't we see what was being actually said? There were times where he said, yes, I will speak for all Jews here. But at the same time, and Ken's about to go into this, it was the equivalency that he was making during that time of black people saying the N-word, which Ken is going to explain.
Analogy of the N-word, right?
Yeah, I remember watching that part.
So again,
but I feel like that's two different things.
It's not two different things. It's a Jewish man taking a symbol that was used to persecute and cause genocide upon his own people. Guess what the N-word did? Didn't cause genocide, but slavery caused genocide. Obviously the hard R was what was being used back then, not nigga, but it was taking it back, utilizing it as their own. So that way you take the weight and the vitriol from the word.
Well, what it boils down to is, there's a race of people that has something that is used against them in a hate way, right?
Exactly.
So, taking power away from that group to use it and trying to own it, right? It's two different.
Jewish people don't do that because there was a rabbi that drew that symbol all over himself, and he got debarred from the church after that.
I didn't know that churches handed out law degrees. He got debarred from the church. Just because he was let go from a church doesn't nullify what he was trying to do, doesn't nullify that he was taking that symbol back. What it means is the church looked at that, saw the optics on it, and went, we don't want the backlash. Let's make the safe choice here. And instead of standing behind this person, let's get rid of them. The same way they do with cops. Cops do something wrong. They kill somebody, they do something, internal affairs. What do? Do they get fired? Oftentimes, no. They just get sent to a different precinct because the precinct that they did those things at doesn't want the backlash. They want to push them over to someone else's problem. Same reason in the Catholic Church. When priests have been investigated or have been concluded to have been touching kids, they don't disbar them. They just move them to a different congregation.
Just trying to do what you said.
Yeah. And again,
a little while ago.
It's up to the
It doesn't matter if he was let go from the church. His statement still stands. It doesn't, and what you're doing here is invalidating what this person's beliefs are.
Person, if they want to try and do something like, cause I've met, black people that hated that word. They never used it. Right. And then it just is what it is, right? It's up to the person on what they want to do, right? It's their life to live. They do what they want to do. Obviously,
exactly.
If you're on a public forum, you're going to be criticized over it. And if you make that decision, you got to take the criticisms, right? So
Ethan also knew that was from Bleach. That sword's from Bleach.
It doesn't matter where it's from. It matters what Hasan believed it to be.
Before this.
Yeah.
So the whole argument's coming out of his butt, if you ask me.
Well, you're an idiot.
On that one.
no, I got you. Well, let's continue.
Me, why iDubbbz?
It's your
made
sword,
this
bro. I don't
decision,
believe that you
and
weren't there.
I'm not iDubbbz.
You were
and
there,
I
bro. It's in
don't
your
know
fucking
how
house.
to I don't know why you're asking me.
Because
why
it's
I
your
chose
house
that.
and your sword.
But I also gave you what my speculation is, and that is that
It was just
it's
a
most
cosmic
likely because
chance.
I
Okay.
previously had it laying around because I had just done an Assassin's Creed promo.
Okay, if you say so. So if it's a cosmic fluke, which you claim, then why leave the photo up?
I'm not even in the photo. I don't.
I know
think,
it's in
right?
your
Am I
room
even
though,
in
and with your sword. Why leave the photo up if it's a cosmic fluke?
Wait, why are you asking me this question? I don't know. I'm not. Ethan.
I'm sorry,
I am
Hasan.
not
Are you
iDubbbz.
unable to make value judgments on situations? Like, isn't that what you do for a living? Do you think that
I don't
iDubbbz should have
I
removed?
don't think it's relevant or that big of a deal at all. If that's what you're trying to get out of me, like, yeah, I think it's not.
Okay, so you're
it's
telling a
what you
Jewish
are
man who's
perceiving.
complaining about a very
And
odd
also,
coincidence that I'm crazy and I'm
Just throw the
exaggerating.
Maji on it, Ethan. Can we? Okay, you got me. All right. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, you got me.
Listen
I
to
put a swastika in the video calling you out for exaggerating
No, that's not what I'm
anti-Semitism.
saying.
You
I
got
didn't
me.
do that.
Yes, you did. You literally did.
I didn't do that.
Okay, laugh
But
about it.
again,
Go on.
It's not a swastika. And
Then
I
why
don't
should you
think
leave it
you
up?
have that much of an issue with swastikas, considering you drew one on PewDiePie.
I'm a Jewish man, you fucking moron.
I didn't realize.
So there's the argument right there, right?
You cut it off before he actually gets into the analogy, but yeah.
Yeah.
So Sterling said, I don't know what bleach is. 100%. I have no idea what the fuck bleach is.
Isn't Bleach ever won?
That's beautiful. Like,
Anyone in that room Jewish?
Is
Was
that
anyone in that
what
room? Did I draw
happened?
swastika one time on?
Do you think that Jews have an exclusivity agreement with like being offended or not offended by Nazi imagery? You've done a Sig Heil approximately what 50 times?
Why did I do a Sig Heil? Why did I do a Sig Heil?
I don't know.
Because you only watch clips on Twitter. I was making fun of Elon Musk and trying to see if it was valid or not.
Oh, thank you.
And by the way, as a Jewish man, are you going to tell black people not to use the N-word?
Wait,
Here we go.
To tell black people not to use the N-word because it offends you.
Do you think this is an apt comparison?
Yes.
100% it is.
So you think that
again, I don't.
But you cut it off before they continue their conversation on this, where Ethan goes into further explanation onto why it's an apt comparison.
I don't have a dog in that fight because I'm not either, right? I'm not Jewish and I'm not black, so I don't have a dog in that fight. But I can't make a judgment call because
Then why react to the clip? If you have nothing to say about it, why react to it? It doesn't make any sense. You're just putting it out there. Is for the viewers to have their own opinion, understandable. But if you're claiming that you're going to be covering it, you need to have some sort of an opinion or some sort of stance as to why you don't have an opinion, which obviously he's saying he doesn't have a dog in that fight, but you can still give criticism. You can still give your opinion on either end. You can still give your opinion on the arguments being made, whether those arguments are valid, whether they're solid, whether they're liquid, whether there's holes in those arguments.
that's
I
on
wish
the
he would
person.
have went more on like what Hasan actually did, what Hasan actually said, instead of having so many arguments that revolved around what iDubbbz did and what Frogan did.
Yeah.
Oh, you wish he would have went ahead and challenged Hasan on the things he said? Yeah, that's interesting. He just never did that, right? Just never once did that. Not at all, huh?
I mean, that's kind of up to other people to decide at this point.
Your criticisms are in your own mind. Like you have hallucinated an alternative
By the way, gaslighting,
reality.
anti-Semitic trope. This is what dog whistles are. You whistle to other people, and it's subtle enough that you have plausible deniability, so that when you get accused of being anti-Semitic, you can call the accuser crazy, which is exactly what you're doing. You are a fucking anti-Semite, and you've been caught out 3 different times calling me crazy for very viable, very credible examples of anti-Semitism that you should at least be able to admit are at least not insane. Maybe a misunderstanding, but not insane. But no, of course.
Doesn't call him out. Doesn't use his own words against him.
You something, so you recognize that you're wrong, as you've done twice
you don't
now,
need to
so
explain anything to me. I understand your point. Don't you? So you're accusing me of being irresponsible with my words.
I know we watched this clip already, but again, it lends credence to what I'm saying.
Don't you think saying you have no issue with Hezbollah makes people think you're pro-terrorist?
That's a direct quote. Here's another direct quote.
You do have a problem. You do have a problem with
Matt Lieb specifically.
Jews
yes,
that you don't like, and you are. Quick
I have
to
a
call
problem
them
with Matt
capos.
Lieb, who's platforming Bad Empanada. Yes, clearly. Is there you don't like Bad Empanada? You understand? A year ago, you were talking about how crazy he was.
But I'm not.
But suddenly, when he
Here's
starts
the
talking
difference.
about me,
Here's
he's
the
your
difference,
best friend.
Ethan.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're right.
Again, going after Hasan for something he said.
Actually, you're right. I think Bad Empanada is insane. But you know what? I also
And all of a
always
sudden,
say?
you love his videos. Why is that?
Bad Empanada.
Why do you
and
love
I've
his
maintained
videos
this
suddenly?
position- I've
Before
maintained
you
this
pledged never to
position-
watch his videos on stream. Why do you love them now?
Which is something Hasan did. Hasan stated he would never watch a Bad Empanada video on stream. Again, going after Hasan for what he said.
Okay, you always say that whenever you, first of all, let me give you a stat.
Mr.
You've watched 11 hate videos about me since this has started. Do you know how many I've watched about you on stream?
Your whole stream is
Zero.
a hate video.
Zero. I have had zero people hold my hand through some obscene hate videos. You've watched 11 of them. Now let me ask you this. Whenever I make a response to these videos, for example, the content cop, you say you don't have time because you need to get to the news, which is something important.
Again, using Hasan's words against him.
How the fuck do you have 19 hours straight, uninterrupted, to watch 11 hate videos, but you're not willing to show my response? Don't you think that's a bit cowardly?
And I'm sorry, you're just wrong. You're 100% wrong. He did go after freaking Hasan for the things that he said, and also went after Hasan and asked him about other things other people said, because they're in the same camp. They run in the same circles. You are judged by the people. You are judged by the company you keep. Okay.
I'm not defending the Nakba.
From a separate.
Hold on. Those are those ones. I can't believe that you claim to have watched the full 5 hours, and yet your takeaway is that he didn't at all challenge Hasan on the things that he said.
All around what iDubbbz did and what Frogan did.
Yeah, Lorax welcome to Bam. Now, with Frogan and what she said, she was very blatant and obvious what she said. And I hate that bitch for that.
Disgusting.
I hate that bitch for that. And it has nothing to do with, culture she belongs to.
100%.
We're going to do a deep dive into this. It's literally a 5-hour damn discussion. Whatever.
So I'm going to leave it at that. They're claiming that they're going to do it. Well, Ken's claiming he's going to do a deep dive on it. Hopefully, because this current coverage of it was shit. I'm sorry, it was. I don't know where Sweet Tea came from. I don't know your background. I don't know anything. You were trying to get on Rastov for not knowing who Ethen Klein was. Yet here you are giving shit pointed takes on the whole debate, saying things that are completely are just complete fallacies. It's as if you never even watched it. It's like you don't know anything. It's like you just simply watched the freaking debate and you were like, oh, okay, that's enough for me to know. It's a 5-hour debate. You were unprepared. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea about the actual conflict and the reasons why. Get some context. Stop just spouting shit off at the mouth because you think it's what people want to hear or because you think you know what you're talking about. There's over 3 years of context as to why this debate occurred. I do not understand. I literally do not understand how it is that you can so confidently come up here and say things that just aren't true. And I'll leave you guys with this one. I'll leave you with this because it's a good dig on Hasan.
The reason why I know that, Ethan,
I'm take that as a yes.
Breaking the silence veterans who have come out and spoken out against this practice. That's why I know that.
Hasan.
And this is also Ethan using Hasan's words against him, something that Sweet Tea said he never did.
You say that Hila could have gone to jail and done a conscientious objection instead of joining the army. Why do you pay taxes? Why do you pay taxes to the United States
This
government?
is your big argument, Ethan?
Answer the question.
That I pay taxes and I'm morally culpable? I know. That's why I try to fucking
Why don't
fight
you go to
against this
jail?
goddamn government
Well,
doing
why
this
don't you
shit
stand
every
up for
day.
your hold on? Why don't you stand up for your principles and go to jail for it?
Because it would not actually stop. Okay, it would not actually stop. The reason why I'm.
Do you not see the idiocracy here? Hasan states that him going to jail in protest of his government's decision to send relief efforts to Israel or whatever the fuck wouldn't actually have stopped what was going on. In tandem, also making that argument for Hila, if she had gone to jail, standing as a conscientious objector to what was going on with the IDF, it wouldn't have changed a damn thing. This is why you should understand what you're watching, not simply taking it and thinking you know the entire story. I don't know who you are, sweetie. I don't know where you came from, but you should never touch this. You should never touch any level of politics. You shouldn't touch any kind of a debate ever again until you can actually understand what's going on. And as for Ken, brother, you need to push back more. You seriously need to push back more. Just allowing people to say stuff with no opposite point of view or a very minimal pushback is what's allowing people like her to turn around and be so confident in what it is that they're saying. You do it with Beans, you do it with other people. You're a really cool guy, you're really nice, and I understand why you'd rather not have conflict on Cafe where it's supposed to be just chill. But when you are covering such a sensitive, explosive, viral topic such as this, there needs to be a voice of reason. There needs to be an educated voice, somebody who knows what's going on, somebody who knows what the history is, especially when it comes to these two. That's everything I have, guys. Put your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys disagree with me, by all means disagree with me, but I just, considering the fact that we're wanting to cover this debate, I couldn't let it go unspoken. But I've been Kmplxity with the after show, everybody. I'm disappointed a bit, but I look forward to them actually covering it and actually doing the deep dive that Ken says he's going to. It's unfortunate that they were so very lackluster on this one, but hey, criticism knows no bounds. We've been critical of all hosts, regardless if they're friends or not. And it wouldn't be fair for us to just let something slide just simply because we have a history. I do look forward to his coverage of it, though. Honestly, I think it needs to just be Ken covering this because it seems as though there ain't anybody else doing the research. But until next time, guys, I've been Kmplxity, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And use our affiliate link in the description below for all your locale trading card needs. And as always, we will see you in the next one.